Hi, today I want to talk about what do you put in your wash roll. This is the wash roll, and this was used to put your toiletries in. It's a nice design because it's rubberized on the inside, and this one is manufactured. This one was manufactured by Pioneer, makers of belts, wallets, braces, and gaiters. You also had these two strings, and these were used to tie this wash roll to your waist, or if you would have rolled it up, you could have closed it by tying it together. That's the purpose of these two strings. What a problem is with rubberized pieces, which are very old, is that after a while it gets tacky. And you don't want, what the problem is that if something that is rubberized touches something that is rubberized for a long time, and for example it gets tacky when it's warm, and when it's cold it hardens again, then those pieces would be stuck together pretty much forever. So that's why I've put pieces of foam inside these pockets to pretty much keep the rubberized piece or the rubberized bit on the inside here to prevent it from sticking to each other. This was the wash roll. It had a lot of different pockets, and let's talk about what you would typically find inside a wash roll. The first category is shaving, and for that we of course have the razor. This is a original, by the way, everything you see in this video is original. This is original razor from Gillette, and I believe that this razor with its original box, these types of razors were issued to the soldiers. I heard a story that Gillette had a contract with the army that they would supply the army razors. So I think this one was issued. So that's the first thing you need in your shaving kit. Next we have a little box of Simplex double-edged erasers, or double-edged blades, I mean. And this is of course very handy to have some spare razors, because if this razor gets dull, you won't have the best shaving quality, so you're gonna need some new ones. So it's pretty much a must-have. Well, I'm also going to show what pockets you would usually put your stuff in. It wasn't really necessary that each item had to be inside of every different pocket. So like if I put it in here, it would have been fine, but you wouldn't necessarily seen soldiers do it. They sometimes had their own loadout, how they wanted everything to be. So I put my razor inside of this medium-sized pocket next to the large size pocket, and of course the spare razors I would also put in there. For display purposes I'm going to lay it above it. And what a soldier would also need is of course shaving cream. This is some shaving cream from Menon. Menon was also a manufacturer that made a lot of stuff, a lot of different types of products, from tooth powder, which I'm going to show you later. Also shaving cream. This one is in pretty good state, and it's pretty much full. It's pretty much new, this one, and pretty nice one. And of course it came in its original box. This is the box that would have been displayed at the PX. The PX was the Postal Exchange, and it was a type of shop where you could buy these kinds of items. And I'll show you a picture right now of one from some examples. And I would love to be there because there are so many cool items there, which would now be worth a fortune. But yeah, this is the type of box you would see with this shaving cream. And a different type of shaving cream which is not very rare. This is very common. You see this. It's not very hard to find. This is Mole, also type of shaving cream with, of course, its box. This is a very well-known box in the collector's world, you could say. And it's pretty cool because it says special service package for the armed forces only. So this was made only for the army and not for civilians. So that's pretty cool. So this was another example. There are many different examples, and I'll show you one right now. I'll show you these are a few different types of shaving creams you would find. Next up is, of course, your shaving brush. Shaving brush was, of course, not really useful with these types of shaving cream, because later, during World War II, the shaving brush was slowly disappearing pretty much. A lot of soldiers were used to shaving with the shaving brush, so they of course kept on doing it. But as you can see, right here you can see, it's probably very hard to tell, but it says brushless shaving, which pretty much means that you don't really need the brush to shave or to spread the shaving cream on your face with. But yeah, of course, the soldiers were used to it, so they kept using their shaving brush even though it wasn't needed anymore. This is the original box that this would have came in, and it also this was wrapped in some piece of paper. I'm not sure if I can try to take it out. As you can see, this is the piece of paper that this shaving brush was wrapped in, and it says rubber set, just like this says on the bottom. It also says rubber set, and that was the name of the brand that made these brushes. Very nice box. I really love these boxes. They're so detailed, and yeah, I like the old style of lettering and the old style of the old way that it was printed. It's very nice. Of course, a very important part of your a very important thing to use while shaving is a mirror. So right here I got a shaving mirror, and this is also a PX purchase, and it came in this little sheath, and sadly the sheath is kind of, it's been well used, you could say. It's pretty much falling apart, but it's still there, and it says US Army with an eagle, very official looking, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, this thing is made of metal, so you're not gonna break it very easily. So yeah, pretty nice mirror. This pocket would have been used to store your mirror. Of course, my mirror is a lot smaller than the standard, or yeah, the mirror you would see a lot of times. I'll show a picture right now. This is so that's the mirror. It's made of plastic, and it has a little hole in the top, so you can put it on a screw or on a peg. And yeah, so now I'm going on to the next category. The next category is oral hygiene. Of course, you would need your toothbrush. This one is still wrapped in some type of plastic because, well, it's pretty much new. Well, it shows the quality because the hairs are still in there after more than 70 years. So that shows the kind of quality, of course. So yeah, this I will put inside of this pocket. Next up, of course, your toothbrush holder. It's made of plastic and yeah, very handy. What also is very handy is if you, of course, brush your teeth, your toothbrush would probably be wet. So that's why the rubberized part is pretty handy, so that it doesn't make all the other items in your bag wet. Or you just use a toothbrush holder. So yeah, we put that in there. Next up we got tooth powder. Soldiers either use tooth powder or toothpaste. What I would think is more handy is to have tooth powder because, well, how you use the tooth powder was you would grab your toothbrush, you would make it wet, and you would put some of this powder inside of your palm, and then you would grab your toothbrush and you would stick it into the powder, and then you could just brush your teeth with it, and inside of your mouth it will turn into a type of toothpaste. So it's pretty handy in my opinion. So tooth powder. This is made by the company Squib. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that word, but yeah, that's how it's called. I also have another example of tooth powder, and that's Condoms. Condoms is a very well-known manufacturer of tooth powder, and of course this one as well. Condoms is a little bit more expensive for collectors than Squib, but still it's a very nice piece, and yeah, these are pretty much the two main brands of tooth powder you would come across. And some other items you would also see in a washroll are, of course, toilet paper. This is a very big package of toilet paper. I don't have the small one because in the K rations you would have the Waldorf toilet paper, which is pretty much the most expensive, almost the most expensive toilet paper in the world. This is also original toilet paper, and these you would have found in bigger rations, and yeah, pretty cool. Very thin. You really wouldn't want to wipe your, you will know what I mean, with it, because the paper will guarantee. I guarantee you the paper will tear. Yeah. So the toilet paper. I'll place it over here. Next up, condoms. It's not something many people would think about, but the army they really wanted the soldiers to use condoms, because back in the day hygiene wasn't very, well, it wasn't the same as we are used to nowadays. Most of the soldiers had never seen condoms, so the army tried to issue condoms to the soldiers. There even were films made to show the soldiers how to put on condoms, because they really didn't know it. Most of them didn't know anything about condoms, and yeah, these are the 3 examples. A comb. This is a nice example of a comb. It says made in USA and US Army, so that's pretty cool. It's made of Bakelite, and the problem with Bakelite was that oftentimes these teeth, I think, these teeth would break off, and some soldiers, mostly British soldiers, because the American soldiers had to shave. British soldiers could keep their moustache if they could grow one. Those British soldiers would most likely broken off pretty much all the teeth, and keep a few teeth. They would keep a few teeth, and then they would use the comb to comb their moustaches. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, nice original US comb. I'll put that into this pocket. Of course, a very important piece of kit is foot powder. This is a British version of the foot powder. It didn't really matter because if it's British, because the Americans were stationed in England, so they would have gotten some British items. And yeah, there was foot powder, and it was against sweaty feet. It wasn't really against the wounds you would get on your feet, it was really for just sweaty feet. That was the main purpose for foot powder. Next up we got tweezers. These are, of course, again, original tweezers, and they're very handy if you want to remove something small like a splinter or something. And nice quality, by the way. And yeah, it speaks for itself. After that, we of course have a nail vial. This is, yeah, it's a pretty nice one. It works very well. It also says Klaus USA on it, and yeah, also a pretty nice piece. And also a very important piece of kit is soap. This is Palmolive. It's pretty funny how many well-known companies were also existing back then, because I still have Palmolive soap in my toilet, you know. So yeah, it's pretty cool that those companies are still existing. Coca-Cola, for example, also a very well-known company today, but it was also popular back then. Another example of soap you would have seen is this one. This is a piece of soap that you would have seen in a K ration, or you would have gotten with the rations. The wrapper is pretty much, I'm not sure what's on there, some kind of blooming or something. I'm not entirely sure what it is. But yeah, this is also a version you would have seen inside a soldier's washroll. So these are pretty much most of the items you would have seen inside of a World War II US soldier's washroll. It's quite a lot of items, as you can see. I love collecting this stuff. Of course, there are so many variants of items you could have in your washroll, and of course not every soldier would have had the same things in the washroll. Maybe some soldiers wouldn't have this nail vial, and others might have had a bigger version of the comb. It was really dependent on the soldier. So yeah, take one last look. This is pretty much, this is all I have. And of course, not every soldier, especially in combat conditions, would have had the luxury of having all these items. Most of the soldiers might have had just a toothbrush, a razor, some shaving cream, and a mirror. Maybe that was all they had. It was really different for everybody. I hope you learned a thing or two about this video, and I hope I helped you with giving you an idea of what you can collect for your washroll. If I were you, sometimes you see online that they sell you an entire roll with all this stuff for a huge price. I really wouldn't do that. I really would just buy every single piece apart from each other, pretty much, so you can slowly fill the pockets with your own bits and pieces. It's really, of course it's your own choice, but it's much more fun to collect that way. But yeah, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.